Most clients quit working with their trainer within 2 to 3 months. So it begs the question, how do we keep people engaged? And this is really where the Transtheoretical Model and a lot of the concepts inside of Chapter 4, behavioral change, human psychology, come into play. As a personal trainer, the longer you work with clients, the more you're gonna find out the exercise side of things is relatively simple, but the human psychology is pretty complicated. And you guys understanding the 5 stages of the Transtheoretical Model are not only gonna make sure that you answer the questions on the exam and you guys pass your certification, but also start to cue into the stages of change people go through, what's going on in their mind, and how you as a coach and trainer can help move them along in this continuum. Because the better you can do that, the more likely you are to keep clients past that 2 to 3 month stage, which if you're gonna build a career and a life around fitness and training, you're gonna wanna have clients for not just months, but years. So this stuff really matters. So the Transtheoretical Model is a way of looking at human psychology, especially behavioral change, the process of making changes. Obviously, as you guys work with clients in the gym, making lifestyle changes, nutrition changes, trying to build better habits, there are a lot of forces and barriers they might be battling along the way. And so this gives us kind of a framework to look at where are they right now. And I'm gonna talk to you about where most of the people you interact with probably are, you know, how to identify what phase someone is, but also for us as coaches and trainers, not only where they are, but what strategies can we employ? What can we do to either help support them staying in that stage and not reverting back, or hopefully over time progressing forward. So really that's where I like to look at it. It's not necessarily pictured this way inside your guys' material, but I really like to look at it as a continuum because I'm constantly thinking, what can I do? Right? What information can I give? Or what strategies can I give them? Or support I can give them? There's lots of different things that are talked about inside these stages, but what can I do to make sure we're moving them along? Because people are gonna come across roadblocks, they're gonna come across barriers. There's gonna be, you know, unfortunately, like terrible things that happen in their life, and that's gonna have people cycling through some of these stages. So just because someone gets to one stage, like 4 or 5, doesn't mean they're naturally gonna stay there. So us as coaches, the more we understand these phases, the more we can help our clients. Let's dive into phase 1. Stage 1 is a relatively easy one. Pre-contemplation is, like it says, someone's not really thinking about exercise, and especially within the next 6 months. So oftentimes this might be someone who either A, doesn't see the need for behavioral change, regardless of their health status, whether they're healthy or considered unhealthy, overweight, obese, but they're not planning on exercising. Now, from my experience, this may not be the type of person that you as a personal trainer are interacting with a lot. You may be working though, maybe you end up working inside of a health organization or working in medical health and fitness where there's some interventions. Oftentimes, strategies with pre-contemplation are gonna be education, right? I think about this, although we're talking about health and fitness and exercise, oftentimes if you think about like cigarette smoking, smoking cessation, and larger programs that may happen to try to bring awareness. Because for a lot of people, something like cigarette smoking, they may be aware, or maybe they're unaware. Maybe they're unaware of the health detriments of what they're doing. So oftentimes education may play a big role in this, but I find as a personal trainer, it's probably less common that you're really interacting with people who are in this pre-contemplation phase. And it starts to get a little bit juicier here now with phase or stage 2. We've kind of made a little transition in this continuum of behavioral change with contemplation. Like the word indicates, this person's now thinking about or planning to. Those are 2 big key words, thinking about or planning to, but they have not taken action. They're thinking about or planning to make some sort of change in whatever behavior it might be in the next 6 months, right? There's an intention there. And so oftentimes the strategies that we may now be able to employ with this person are not just information and education, but maybe also helping coach them through the benefits, right? The perceived benefits, the perceived drawbacks of making this new change. Because oftentimes for people, there's always this give and take, right? Someone might want to give up having red wine on Tuesday night. If you work with clients, you know a lot of them are going to have those types of things, and it's weighing out, right, the benefits of being social and engaging with friends and like a little bit of stress relief with the opposite side of what they really want with their health and fitness goals. And so oftentimes contemplation, it's about trying to help them tip the scales and move them a little bit further along the spectrum. And I think that's a really good point, guys. Like I mentioned, you may have people who have moved further along the continuum in one aspect, like exercise, and all of a sudden they're further back with something like a behavioral change, like giving up something like wine. So just know this is a fluid process, but contemplation, they're thinking about or intending to make a change in the next 6 months, but they have not taken action. Stage 3, preparation. This is now somebody who in the next 30 days is making the intention and planning on taking action. It doesn't mean they've been doing it consistently. Now, from an exercise standpoint or an exerciser standpoint, this might be someone who maybe at this stage, maybe they've sporadically been doing some things, maybe they've been occasionally getting into the gym, or maybe it's kind of that weekend warrior who's been doing a few things, but they're not really doing it consistently and they don't have the plan fully intact yet, but they're planning to sometime in the next 30 days. Now, this is a key piece here. This is now, I think, as we start to look at our phases, this is probably where these individuals may now be coming into. Either A, if you work in some sort of gym, whether it's a larger club or a private studio, they may now be coming in and seeking out the assistance or the coaching, or maybe a referral, right? Maybe you have some clients right now and they've connected you with somebody. They're like, hey, you know what? This person just moved here and maybe they worked with a coach and trainer in the past. They talked to me about wanting to get into exercising. They're not doing anything yet. And you're now starting to communicate with this person, right? So this is a really, really key stage because the scale could tip either way for this person. They're not doing anything consistently. They're not really taking action, but they're in that place where they're like making plans. At this stage, I find for a lot of clients especially, a lot of it is about getting commitment and not just getting them to say yes, but for me, getting things on the calendar, right? Even if we start to think about other videos that we've done here on the channel, like getting people in for first sessions, you know, I'm gonna really push to start to get some type of commitment from someone because as a coach and trainer, a lot of times what's gonna help someone really kind of move from here into the next stage is the accountability of another person. For whatever reason, with human psychology, oftentimes if it's just for ourselves, sometimes it's not enough. So you as a coach can really start to play a big role and impact in their lives here if you can really start to reel them in and get them further and further close to this place where we're gonna go into phase 4 and start taking action. Action! Stage 4 of the Transtheoretical Model is that point in time where, hey, guess what? Maybe they've already come into a first session with you. They've said yes, right? The relationship has begun. They have started to train with you on a consistent basis, 2-3 times a week. And now the key is keeping them there long enough to move them into stage 5. I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is the piece where most people quit inside the first 2 to 3 months. We know someone is truly in action, whatever the change might be, gym, wine, you name it. If they've been doing it consistently for less than 6-month period, most times in those first couple of months. And just know it's not black and white, like all of a sudden they hit the 6-month mark and boom, everything has changed. It's this process of making sure that the plan is realistic. And that's a key variable here for you guys. I can just tell you beyond the NASM material, if you want to make sure people stay here and eventually move here and then eventually become these lifetime clients that you change their lives and they help build your business, we got to make sure that the starting point is reasonable. I would always rather start with someone twice a week knowing they can do that than try to push to 3 just for the sale, because I know I can add things in over time. So there are a lot of strategies we can take inside of action here, aside from creating a realistic plan, but also giving them a lot of support, helping them understand what's to come. Because the truth is, after the 2 months, the 3 months, the 6 months, they're gonna run into not just barriers, but also even plateaus. Making sure they know throughout the process what progress is gonna look like, and also finding other ways. I can tell you for sure, finding other ways to celebrate their success. They may be coming to you for weight loss. They may be coming to you for certain things, and things like weight loss or body composition take time. And this is where you measuring other things, doing other types of assessments, other ways of showcasing their progress are really, really important to keep them in this action stage long enough for us to make it to stage 5. And finally, we have stage 5, where we want to get people to, and that's maintenance. That means that they've been sticking with this change for 6 months or more. And it doesn't mean that we're magically in the clear and that it's just gonna stick with them forever. There's a lot of things we can do as coaches and trainers and being there for them, helping them come up with strategies and just helping them stay consistent. Because as you probably know from working out and training for years, being consistent can be challenging. And let's be honest, it can also be a little bit boring. So finding ways to keep them engaged in training in general along the way are really valuable in making sure they don't backslide into these other phases. So hopefully, if anything, you guys understanding these 5 phases of this Transtheoretical Model not only just give you more relevance to like, okay, I understand why this is inside of this NASM and personal training curriculum, because let's be honest, this is what we do, right? Exercise is part of it, but if we don't have people who are making real changes in their life beyond our training sessions, it's just not gonna stick. So hopefully going through these 5 stages of the Transtheoretical Model not only help you guys better understand, okay, how do I know where someone is, but also start to think about how can I help move them along. And you're only given a little bit of this inside the NASM textbook. This is definitely a huge area for ongoing learning, and it's definitely one that's going to make an impact in your guys' training career. So make sure you guys dive into this stuff beyond your NASM certification, and we'll see you guys on the other side.